Okay, let's give it another 30 seconds. I see participants rolling in. That's awesome. Welcome all. All right, fantastic. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today for today's event. And today's event is Bunker Labs Capital Call, powered by Localvest. This is fantastic, the first of its kind. My name is Bill Militello. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Localvest. Our other founder, John Bracken, he's in the audience as well. We'd both like to thank everyone who's logged on and joined us today. Co-hosting with me today is none other than Mr. Blake Hogan, a fellow Marine. Hoorah. And welcome, Blake. Blake's the CEO of Bunker Labs. And so, Blake, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Bunker Labs and your connection with entrepreneurs we have presenting today, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, hey, Bill, thanks so much. Super excited to be here with the Localvest team. John, it seems like yesterday we were in Nashville whiteboarding this whole thing out. So excited to have Lindsay and Edwin and JJ here with the support of your team to have them talk about their businesses. We launched Bunker Labs in 2014 with a really simple idea. Could we use locally thriving ecosystems, connect them nationally to help entrepreneurs launch, grow, and scale? So you'll get to hear a bit more about what we're doing. You can see it all at bunkerlabs.org. But the whole reason we're here today is to drive capital and connections for Edwin and JJ and Lindsay. So couldn't be more excited to be here and to kick this off. Truly appreciate the work of Localvest. Let's do this, Bill. Let's go.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Blake. Yeah, we're really happy to have Bunker Labs as part of the webinar today. With that, I wanted to just say that Localvest is really super pumped to present with Bunker Labs companies. Localvest is a capital access network. We're really the perfect complement to Bunker Labs. And so if a vet needs capital, we help you put gas in the tank. Also, you're going to see some questions coming on. These are to the audience today. You'll see some questions. We ask you to answer some of those questions. And if you've got questions of your own, then put them in the Q&A chat, and we might use some of them. Getting back to the questions we're going to ask you, that's a poll, right? So the polls tell us all sorts of information on how to bring you better content and make this a more valuable experience for yourself. So if you see something, and also if you see something that interests you, please answer them, and we appreciate that. With that, we've got 3 incredible companies with us today. I can't wait to hear their stories and what they're working on. So we're really, with no further ado, let's get to the first company. And our first company today is going to be presented by Edwin Rivera. So a little bit about Edwin. There he is. He's a technology entrepreneur with nearly 20 years of startup experience. As an established pioneer in the field of augmented reality, AR, he's built strong relationships with recognized brands and retailers such as Walmart, Marvel, Sanrio, and Disney. Edwin served in the Marine Corps and is a Desert Storm veteran, another Marine. Hoorah. And hoorah. As the managing partner of CG1 Solutions, he's spearheading the launch of Reality Hub, a metaverse training solution for healthcare systems. I'll let him tell you more about Reality Hub. And Edwin, why don't you go ahead and take it away? Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the Localvest team and my partners at Bunker Labs. It's really exciting to be here and talk about what we're doing at CG1 Solutions. So with that, go ahead and take control. And we will start our presentation. CG1 Solutions. So again, my name is Edwin Rivera. I'm the managing partner of CG1 Solutions. We are a software development company specializing in mixed reality and specifically for the healthcare sector. So if you've heard of augmented reality, virtual reality, that's our sweet spot. Our team has a significant amount of experience, and we're taking that experience to try to build something really, really exciting. The industry is booming. Right now, it's forecasted just for next year, $160 billion. And it's greatly expanding. COVID-19, unfortunately, as terrible as the pandemic has been, it was a watershed moment for the industry because it really accelerated the need for what we do and how we're applying the technology. So just a quick background on the tech, the types of tech that we're working with. Mixed reality, you've probably heard of it, AR, Pokemon Go. A lot of folks didn't hear about or didn't know what they were, what that meant until Pokemon Go, and now the youth is using it almost on a daily basis with Snapchat filters and Instagram filters. It's a really immersive technology that for those of us who learn, who are visual learners, it really helps us grasp and retain knowledge. So with that being said, the proof is in the pudding. And what we were doing while we were working with this technology is we were planning on helping hospitals with their training. And I'll go back to the why and start with the why. We got a phone call at the height of the pandemic from a contracting officer at one of the VA VISNs with a problem, and the problem was real and it was serious. They couldn't get technicians for critical biomed technology, like ventilators and defibrillators. They couldn't get them out on site to perform preventive maintenance or even repairs. So they called us, and basically the conversation was as follows. We've been looking at this technology for a while. We think it can help us. Right now, we're in a situation where we can't afford to have vital machinery go down. Can you all create content for us, because we don't have the bandwidth to create the content and we don't have the know-how? Can you create content for us, and can you make it a subscription-based model? Little did they know that we were already working on this, and it was just, for us, it was the why we were building it. We had suspected it, and we really, from that moment on, have not looked back. So Reality Hub is what we launched. Reality Hub is basically addressing an immediate need, and it's a subscription-based platform, as I mentioned earlier. So hospital systems can take the technology that we've been working with to help train clinicians and biomed techs. So for instance, there's a process to PM a defibrillator. We create the content in unison with the manufacturer to make that content easy for that biomed tech to perform on site. We can also open up a remote session and walk them through. So think about, again, someone who's a visual learner. We in front of them give them a virtual model that allows them to learn and gives them a step-by-step. So it's very hard to, I won't say it's very hard to mess up, but it's really hard to get stuck in these processes. And we feel that because we're able to put this technology readily available through an average tablet or an Oculus or anything else for that matter, you don't really need expensive equipment. We feel that because of this, we can be an instrumental part of saving lives. Because again, if something goes down, that's a vital piece of equipment. Obviously, hospitals are put in a really tough position. So we're answering the problems, which are what happens when our equipment goes down. So the pandemic exposed that, and with our Reality Hub platform, we're meeting that. A lot of folks have referred it to Netflix meets healthcare training. As corny as that may sound, it really is the truth. They're not, they being the end user, are not equipped to basically create this content. They could, and if they wanted to, but most hospitals don't have the time or the bandwidth. And in reality, the manufacturers are the ones that are gravitating towards this type of technology. So we feel we're at an amazing inflection point in the industry and the market right now to capitalize on manufacturers gravitating towards this type of training, and obviously end users, whether it be because of immediate need or future casting, to be able to take this technology and apply it and put it to good use. I mentioned earlier, keeping vital equipment up and running basically saves lives. So take yourself back to the height of the pandemic. We all know how scary it was to hear that there were potential shortages in ventilators. So imagine if there were shortages in ventilators, the ones that hospitals had to keep up and running. We feel that with what we're building, we're just starting to be able to address things like that, to be able to future-proof health systems and other healthcare stakeholders in keeping these types of equipments up and running. Our current market validation is, we've got a pilot with one of the VAs. We're under NDA, so I can't mention which VA, but I can mention the use case. It's around keeping laboratory equipment PM'd and up to speed. We have hospital systems, South Florida, interested, and also associations like the Association of Perioperative Registered Nurses that are interested in converting their guidelines over to mixed reality. So everyone is looking at this right now. I think everyone is poised to adopt it. But basically what we did as a company is we vetted the technology. We've got best of class technology under our roof, and we're really making it easier for our client base to address it. Our experience, obviously, I mentioned a little bit earlier about my experience. I've been in the augmented reality space since 2009. I've had the opportunity to work with major brands, and really at the beginning there was a lot of gimmicky type of things rolling out, and it's been amazing to see how the industry is now rolling out to enterprise experience and enterprise applications where they're seeing immediate ROI on adopting this technology. That's really, again, going back to our sweet spot. We've kind of, over the last decade, have been a part of some really cool experiences, but they were consumer facing and were really around the entertainment industry. It's amazing to see companies that are 80 plus years older right now looking to adopt this technology to help their current staff in training, but also to not lose experience that's under their roof as technicians go to retire. So brain drain is also something that we address. So our use of funds is very simple. I'm sorry, did I?
No, I wanted to make sure. I want to make sure we get time for questions. We got some questions coming in. I know Blake is waiting to ask a few. Obviously, there's some use of funds. I don't want to rush your presentation, but I figured we'd get to some of the juicy stuff about some questions from the audience and also from Blake. I've got a few that are piling in. Blake, do you want to go and ask Edwin a question?
Yeah, I'm going to jump in. Hey, Edwin, this is awesome. So you've already got pretty solid use case with the VA. You're showing customer traction. You're growing it, in a real like targeted way. Love to hear kind of specifically of how COVID accelerated that, and then now more importantly how that's continuing, right? So I think it's one thing people are like, oh, got it, we went virtual, and you were able to serve that need. And then I think folks might go, oh, well, now does that mean everybody goes back to in person? So how does that sort of acceleration continue now?
Great question. So obviously COVID accelerated because there was an immediate need, and we had to address that need that manufacturer reps could not come on site in most hospitals. So that was the obvious use. But now, after these customers have started to adopt this technology, they're starting to see, well, wait a second, it's not just a need in a pandemic. We're actually addressing now the fact that we've got to train X number of clinicians. We've got to fly them out in some cases to places. We don't have to fly them out anymore. And by the way, they can also take that training with them home and practice at home, because again, this, right, well, I'm showing an iPhone, this right here, that's the tool. We don't need fancy equipment. We can get fancy with heads-up displays and things like that for maybe more complicated things. But a clinician that needs to learn, a defibrillator, we're right there for them. So that's how it started to change since the pandemic started. Thanks, Blake.
Yeah, thanks. Over to you, Bill.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks for amplifying that. It's talking about content, right? This Netflix model that you're talking about, and what's the plan? So you're going to limit the content to distribute to only content that your company or your teammates create. Will you distribute others, like third-party content? And I guess a follow-up to that real quick is, are hospitals in the position to create their own content? And if they are, would you host that as well?
Great questions as well. So we obviously have the capabilities to create our own content, but by no means are we only going to create content. We want to be a distribution partner for hospitals. So we're already in talks with some great companies that have some amazing technology and content, specifically in VR, because that's not our area of expertise. But not just VR, also AR. And what's really exciting is that there's a lot of health systems who want to create their own content, then distribute it out to other health systems. Again, these are the content experts. They're the clinical experts. So for a children's hospital to develop a program for a specific piece of equipment that we can distribute to other children's hospitals is an amazing place to be. But that's actually what's happening right now.
That's interesting. So as a follow-up to that, what are you doing right now that's with augmented reality, virtual reality, that's different from what's out there in the marketplace?
Really, it's an enterprise use case, right? There's a lot of hype and excitement around the metaverse, and we're going to create this or that. We're focusing on ROI. So when we come in and we create content, there has to be an immediate ROI attached that we can measure ourselves to. So I think that's where we're different. Pretty soon, I give it about 5 years. This is going to be content that's very common and expected. So we want to be the leaders. That's what we're aiming to be, the leaders in setting that standard, and not necessarily being the new shiny object, but being the company that can implement and show return on investment immediately.
Okay, and so why, going to your business model, why are you offering a subscription-based model?
It's really, we listen to the market. To have a contracting officer tell us, look, we love the technology, and everyone who sees the technology usually goes, wow, that's really cool. But we don't have the bandwidth nor the expertise to come and create our own content. That's why we went that direction, because the market's telling us we want a subscription model. We don't want to be creating content that's a one-off and it's thrown away. And really, that's throughout my career, that's where I've focused on. We're taking technology and being able to amortize it for customers so we can keep the cost down, but still be able to adopt it and reap the benefits of the adoption.
Yeah, that's fabulous. We're going to probably have to end it right here. It's fascinating. I can go on forever talking about this subject and the use cases. I'm seeing the questions that are along those lines as well. I think you're really onto something, Edwin, and got the tiger by the tail with this. So with that,
thank you for the opportunity.
Oh yeah, our pleasure. And so if anybody wants to reach out to Edwin, he has some contact information up on his last slide. If not, we'll put it in the chat. You can let us know what you think. There'll be some polling questions. There they are on your screen. If you want us to make that connection to connect you with Edwin, please let us know. Also, Edwin has a deal tile, an opportunity tile on Localvest, so you'd be able to find out more information there, as well as his contact information. You can reach out to him and discuss his company further. So let me see. I'm supposed to answer this question as well, so I'm going to do that. There we go. Fantastic. All right. Okay. So before we move on to our next company, I thought it'd be important to let Blake talk a little bit more about Bunker Labs, their role in helping veterans and mill spouses start their business. So with that, Blake, we'd love to hear about Bunker Labs.
Yeah, hey, thank you so much. So for those of you that want to follow up with Edwin, you got his infos in the chat. Laura posted it. So Edwin at CG1Solutions.com. So look, we started Bunker for a really simple reason, right? We wanted to make sure that entrepreneurs, that the military could be one of the strongest paths to successful entrepreneurship. If you look back at World War II, you had 16 million veterans, and nearly half of them came home and started businesses. So if I wanted to get capital, Bill and I would have gone into the American Legion. We would have said, oh, we both served as Marines, cheers, and said, okay, great, now let's get to business. So we do that now in about 40 cities across the country in cohort-based programming. It's all about focused effort on small groups of entrepreneurs across the country. So we do that with our veterans and residents, CEO Circle, and ambassadors. So today across the country, there are 316 entrepreneurs. They'll get together in a WeWork like this here in New York City, over 35 cities for the course of 6 months to do one thing, and that's to grow. So imagine having your squad of fellow entrepreneurs, but then being surrounded by business community, capital community, higher education, government, et cetera. The way that we work to surround those veterans and residents companies are our ambassadors. And you're getting to hear from a couple, most them on this program today. So, our ambassadors are ecosystem builders. So the number one determinant to success of an entrepreneur is your network. So if we can drive strong networks, then we can create more opportunity for success. So this is a sustained approach. So right now there are 89 leaders. They're serving in 40 cities across the country over a 12-month fellowship that's focused all around building entrepreneurial networks. And then as you grow, we've launched our CEO Circle. This is in partnership with JPMorgan Chase and their commercial bank. So these are companies that are 5 million in revenue or more, and we just expanded that to 1 million to 5 million as well. So the idea here is, let's get smart people in the room. Let's get them what they need. If you look at this, this is it, like capital, knowledge, networks. That's why we're here today. And that's what we want to do. Check out this is just the current cohort. So if you're an investor and you're like, should I write a check? Like the answer is yes, you should. And here's why. So our veterans and residents companies, together, they represent 44 million, 24 million in capital raise and almost 1,200 jobs. Look at the CEO Circle, 300 million, 600 million, and almost 3,200 or over 3,200 jobs. So, the idea here is you want to put your money to work, do it. And if you want to support Bunker Labs, we'd love to have you be a part of that. This is just a snapshot of the growth we've experienced over the last 6 months. So over 50% growth in just one program. Our CEO Circle is also grown by over 50%. So to break that down, we want to do two things. We want to solve for capital and connections, and we want to do it through cohort-based programs. And we want to bring we want to be the convener that brings all of these disparate things together so that Lindsay and Edwin and JJ can come on here and say, these are the things that I'm trying to do. I need you to help me grow. So we're incredibly grateful to do that with Localvest and excited to hear the rest of the team here share their stories about their companies and most importantly, how you can get involved.
That's fantastic, Blake. So I think we've got one more you're going to introduce to us, right? Or two more, but let's go to our second presenter today.
All right, so we're going to tee up Lindsay. So Lindsay Helm is former information technology specialist in the U.S. Army. So we did want to balance it out and have some Army, and then JJ's in the Air Force. So you're going to get the whole spread today. But after leaving the Army, she worked in corporate America, companies like Amazon, Intuit, the DoD. Realize a gap in education and retention. Like we all know this challenge that employers have around hiring within the military community. So she launched an organization called Empower Employ, focus on supporting economic impact of veterans and military spouses with the simple idea through corporate education and technology. So excited to hand it over to Lindsay. Tell us a little bit more about what you're doing and how these folks can get their checkbooks out and get involved and help you go to the next level.
Well, thank you, everyone. So thank you, Blake, for that marvelous introduction. As you heard, my name is Lindsay Helm, and I'm the founder and CEO of Empower Employ. And we are empowering the military community through corporate education and technology solutions. In my experience as a veteran, when I initially transitioned out, even though I had tech skills and a degree, I had a really hard time explaining to people what those skills were. So I typically found myself now what I realize is being underemployed. As a military spouse, I applied for a position and got told, we're not going to hire you, not because you're not qualified, but because you're only going to be here for 3 months, 6 months, whatever that timeline was for me. So, as we know, I think we all can agree here today that corporate America has dedicated billions and billions of dollars to hiring and retaining military talent. But there's always a but, and we shouldn't say and. I'm going to try to advance my slide here. Let's get to it and talk about it today. So, as we've seen in corporate America right now, we've dedicated billions of dollars to hiring and retaining military talent. But are these organizations, properly retaining that talent? Are they training their recruiters, which are often civilian, with resources and locations to find that talent? Are the acronyms and in and outs for each branch and rank being explained? And what about reading military spouses and veteran resumes? Are we seeing that? Are we seeing our veterans placed in the right roles with equitable pay? And unfortunately, right now, 4.5% of our veteran population is unemployed and is 15.6% more likely to be underemployed than their civilian counterparts. Military spouses face one of the highest unemployment rates of any demographic in this country at a rate of 24%. 50% of veterans leave their first job within their first year after leaving service, 80% with their second year, showing that companies still have a long way to go to hire and retain that military talent. Next slide, please. There we go. We have solutions for each of those problems here at Empower Employ. First, we staff. We have a subscription-based sourcing model where we go out and source and link the strongest candidates with those positions. Second, we educate. We offer white labeled, next slide, please. Thank you. We offer a white labeled, fully customized education platform and training system that can be scaled, that is priced per company and depends on size. Third, we connect using our new technology solution, Empower. Empower is a subscription-based platform where hiring teams and candidates are able to directly connect without depending on flawed artificial intelligence or military translation skills. And Empower offers 3 primary value propositions. It provides that education to employers. It provides career mentorships to veterans and spouses. It lowers the barrier to time spent on applications, and it rewards users for use, next slide, making recruitment, education, and job seeking more fun. Our current market for all of our arms are significant, or for our services, SaaS education and staffing. It has a market of $118.3 billion. And we're hoping to acquire 20.5 million as our obtainable market. Next slide, please. Since launching last year, Empower Employees deployed and secured multiple training and staffing contracts with companies such as Travelers Insurance, Modus, the Department of Defense, Ronstadt USA, and CELO. And we've officially sold and white labeled our educations to companies such as the Staffmark Group, Fusion Cell, and Cardinal Consulting. We are profitable. We have an average month-over-month grow rate of about 6%, and we've generated about $275,000 in revenue to date, with a projection $1 million revenue within the next year. Next slide, please. Our current deal tile is posted here at Localvest, and our ask currently is $1.5 million. Terms TBD, and these funds will be used to finish to bring our MVP to full scale and full market. And we'll be using this to also bring in a few key hires to increase marketing, sales, and education. Next slide. Our team here at Empower Employ has over 2 decades of recruiting and military experience. This team has built and scaled and exited multiple companies. Next slide. We also have a fully built out advisory board that includes high-level strategic advisors and the legal, tech, and venture capital space. Next slide. So our mission here at Empower Employ is to eliminate veteran and military spouse and underemployment through corporate education and technology solutions. And I wholeheartedly believe that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go quicker, go together. Please do not hesitate to reach out, and I'm open to take your questions. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Bunker Labs and Localvest at 5 minutes and 1 second.
Nailed it. All right. Lindsay, that's awesome. All right. Well, let's go quicker together then. So tell us a little bit why you started the company, and more importantly, why you're the right team to do this.
So for me, let's start with why we're the right team, or why I am the right person right now, is that there aren't many people that wear both hats and really understand what it's like to transition out of the military, and also what it's like to be a spouse on that side of the house. Now, on the corporate side of the house, I accidentally got into recruiting and HR by default. I started volunteering and helping companies place candidates, and I would hear things like, "We're looking for a recruiter," and I'd be like, "Meet Joe. He's an Army recruiter." And they'd be like, "He doesn't have any experience." And I'm like, "What part of Army recruiter did we miss here? Did you get shot at the last time you interviewed somebody? No, you didn't. Well, that guy in Cleveland just did. Let's talk about it." And then in my personal experience, just hearing time and time again, like, "Oh, we won't hire you because of this," or, we don't want to hire her because she doesn't have this as a spouse, or whatever that was. And I was like, man, what if somebody taught these people, and what if we taught people to fish? We're spending all this money to hire talent, but we're losing it by not building the infrastructure. It's like trying to go to war without the right tools. So I was just like, we're going to do this, and we're going to teach companies to fish, and we're going to give them the infrastructure and education that they need, which is why we're focused on white label technology, so that it look and feels, or education, sorry, so it look and feels like that company. And then why we're the right team. Sorry, we're all military affiliated, and we have the experience to grow and scale a team. My board of advisors is venture capitalists that are known in the space, that are going to assist me and give me the guidance I need to go as a group.
That's awesome. Thank you, Lindsay. Over to you, Bill.
Yeah, fantastic. You're an absolute powerhouse. Like, where were you 25 years ago when my wife talks about our transition from the military to civilian life as our flaming reentry into civilian life?
4th grade, maybe, learning my ABCs.
I knew you were going to date me like that, so I just set myself up.
I'm saying for me, probably 4th grade, but willing to still help.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. So you are seeking investment for the firm, correct?
We are. We're currently planning our raise and looking to interview our very first investor. We've had some interest. I just figured this would be a good opportunity to officially kick that off. We're in early planning stages. We do have the legal team we need. Our deal room is set up. Financials are done. Cap table is done. I'm just really starting to put this out there in the world. This is my first public discussion of a raise at all. So y'all heard it first here.
All right, fantastic. That's wonderful. So if people are interested, they should reach out to you. There'll be some contact information provided. Of course, you have a deal tile that's visible on Localvest and within the Bunker Labs investor group. I guess I should make a pitch for that as well. So if you can't find the deal tile on Localvest, it's certainly inside the Bunker Labs investor group. It's kind of like a private investor group, like a private Facebook group or private LinkedIn group. So please check that out. That's fantastic. So again, understand military background with the team. So tell me more about the team. Do you feel like you've got the tools in the toolkit to make this work, to make this happen?
I feel like, we're just in an awkward place where I need to hire a few more people to support our mission. We're taking such an influx of customers that bringing on a full-time salesperson to help partner with me to go out and do that would be ideal. We could use additional hires for operational support. If you look at my team across the board, we can pop them up and I'll give you a little bit about them. But off the top of my head, I have Flossie Hall. That just covers that right there. I'm just going to stop. Flossie has scaled
you
and
just dropped the mic right now.
Yeah,
right?
I was like, she has built multiple companies and scaled them. We have an amazing graphics designer. My CTO is a software engineer with background, and then our advisor is a female military spouse with software engineering experience. We have some amazing human resources and recruiters that have been in the space forever that are on our team. And then across the board, as far as advisors, we have the legal advisor, who is Rita Hicks, which we all know and love. And so very strategically picked to guide me. And I am interviewing a couple more key advisors that I haven't signed on officially yet, that may be known for companies like Monster or Indeed or one of those companies, but I have not publicly, confirmed or denied that at all.
Yeah. Okay. Haven't confirmed or not. In just a few minutes we have left, this is probably our third or fourth time that we've met and spoke. We haven't met in person yet, but the last time that we spoke, and if you feel comfortable sharing, you really went into the why you started this business, and I
Yeah,
was wondering if you felt comfortable sharing that with everybody.
I can do that as long as nobody says that I'm a Debbie Downer. So short, very version, I was already out volunteering and helping in the space, and I experienced a very intense personal trauma in my life, and I reached out to Bruce Thompson. So he's on LinkedIn. I used Betterati. I used a resource, and I went to Bruce and I said, man, I don't want to get out of bed anymore. I hate my life. Some days I don't want to live. Like, this is horrible. And somebody passed, just to be clear. I lost my brother. And the only thing that really made me want to get out of bed was to help people. And I found myself like advocating for these spouses and advocating for veterans every single day. And I told Bruce, like, hey, I tried this before and I failed, or lessons learned. I lost $80,000. I got divorced. My whole life was over. There's no way I can go back and launch Empower Employee again. And he said, why not? And so I went to my new husband and I went to my friends and said, I'm going to do this. And this was like a Monday last June. And they were like, or the year before, sorry. And they said, do it. And so I pulled out my old logo. This is the OG version from 2017 in my corner. I busted out my business plan. I applied to Bunker Labs. I called in the people. We signed our first contract that Friday and I never looked back, and I bootstrapped everything. I'm not in any sort of personal debt or business debt. And so it's just been full steam ahead. I'm motivated by the impact, not the dollar. And I'll be forever that way. Relationships matter.
Absolutely. And that's what this is about, right? There's that. And that's a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing. If anybody wants to reach out to Lindsay, and I think there's probably, let me see, officially 108 of us. So you're going to get 108 phone calls. So
okay.
I'm going to guarantee
I'm free
that
all day
everybody.
today.
Okay. Sounds good. So, again, if anybody wants to reach out to Lindsay, she has her contact information that's showing up on the screen right now. And if you could also let us know what you think when you answer this poll, please. And of course, more information, contact information about her opportunity is on her deal tile on Localvest, also within the Bunker Labs investor group that also resides on Localvest. So thank you, Lindsay. That is absolutely awesome.
Thank you, team.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So I did just want to take a minute before I introduce the next company and just speak a moment about Localvest, its mission, what we do for veteran entrepreneurs, our focus on the military veteran entrepreneur and the mil spouse entrepreneur. And our mission at Localvest is pretty simple. We're here to build the largest community of military veterans investing in and supporting military veteran entrepreneurs and business owners. Localvest is a capital access network, right? So if you need gas, we'll help you fill the tank. And most importantly, we believe everyone who fought to defend the American dream should have a shot at living it for themselves. So if you need help, there's plenty of resources, Bunker Labs, plenty of resources, Localvest. If you need help in trying to figure out and demystify the capital raising process, come out and contact us at Localvest. We're glad to help you. There are free options. And then if you need a lot of help, then there's other options as well. But we're here to serve. So thank you very much. And there's our link for the website on screen. And all right, so we have our final presenter today. And our last company presenting on the webinar is Chris Irving and JJ Rohrer. So with that, let's see, Chris, we'll do a little introduction of Chris here. So Chris served 5 years in the Navy, then spent the next 4 years working in biotech startups in the Boston area. And from there, he moved into various roles in product management, community development for early stage startups, and he's currently the co-founder of School Twist. JJ served in the Air Force as a captain and went on to receive his MBA from Harvard Business School. As a serial entrepreneur, JJ exited his previous startup in the education space and co-founded School Twist. So I'm looking forward to learning more about School Twist. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris and JJ. Welcome, gentlemen.
Great. Thank you so much, Bill. And thanks, Blake, for pulling all this together. So let me make sure I have the screen here. All right, I think I have it. So I am JJ. I'm a former Air Force captain, and I'm here today with Chris, as you heard, my co-founder and esteemed colleague from the U.S. Navy. And this is School Twist, the operating system for after-school classes. We're going forward there. So when the school day is over, millions of kids participate in after-school enrichment classes and activities. If these are local activities, then it's probably like at the school or adjacent to the school. It might be learning cursive, a running club, a Lego club, karate club. I've seen that at schools. Usually, if it's local, it's organized by a parent volunteer. Maybe you have been a person that has helped organize this or even supported it. These are awesome. But there are challenges to these enrichment activities. I mean, you can tell by the slide, if you look at the kids on the right, they're very sad. That's how we know there's challenges. And why? Well, for every kid that's participating in something cool after school, there are 3 more that would like to participate. Or maybe the parent is waiting for something to come into that community. We want better classes and more of them in communities. But why aren't there more classes? So here's what's going on. Meet Lisa, she's a working mom. Maddie is a precocious first grader. She loves France and is really looking forward to learning French. Now, this is a real thing. They recently moved to Belmont, and they moved there for the schools, but they were dismayed to learn that you can't take a foreign language in Belmont until the 7th grade. And that was a surprise to the family because in the previous area, you could do it when they were young. Lisa knew there were probably some unrealistic options like changing curriculum, but ended up talking to the principal and they figured out it's like, if you could bring someone to come teach French, you could have this after school activity. Perfect, right? Maddie's going to learn French. Everything's terrific. But think about this. It's a lot harder than that. So if you're going to do an after school French club and teach it and have a vendor come in, Lisa is now a parent volunteer. She needs to promote this class. She needs to tell other parents about it. She needs to organize registration, collect the money, tell the homeroom teachers that there's, where the kids go, make sure the kids don't get lost, make sure they get dismissed properly. I mean, frankly, I'm getting bored just listing all the things you have to do. Now, imagine what it's like to actually do that. And that's for one class. At a good school, these will routinely grow to 5, 10, 20, or 40 classes. Those are big operations. And asking the parent volunteers to pull off this $100,000 tuition with hundreds of kids, don't lose anybody, lots of vendors, it's asking a lot. We are here to fix that. So we're building a tightly integrated SaaS platform, software as a service, to help the parent volunteers start, run, and grow these classes. Primarily, this is a class catalog and a place for parents to register the kids for classes. We collect payments and all the right information and get it to the right people, letting the parent volunteer focus on connecting with their fellow parents and freeing them from the tyranny of Excel. The parent volunteer is our customer. We don't sell to schools. The PTA just decides to use us. We configure it for their particular school, and we get paid every time the parent gets charged for a class. So we're post MVP. We have paying customers. We have $2 million in transaction volume so far, and this is like tuition through the system, 15,000 registrations, and 100% retention rate within our target customers. We've already figured out who we're never going to go after and who would be an eventual target customer, but we're not ready for them yet. So our customers love us. And we actually had one recently ask if they could talk about us on their local Facebook group because they wanted other schools nearby to use this. And I was like, yes, please. We quite like that. So what is this? So all the checks you've written for your kids to participate in one of these programs or gotten the credit card out, that really adds up. we see a real path to getting to 100 million in ARR. That's obviously really ambitious, but it is actually conceivable. We can see how that can happen. We measure ourselves by the percent of the transaction volume that's out there and how to grow that transaction volume. We're really happy with our newest pilot program. We doubled the percentage of transaction volume that we captured, and we have plans on growing that quite a bit and making it a win-win for both the parent volunteers and for us. We're using our funds that we're raising for production hardening our software and doing some initial tests and preparing for our go-to-market. So we are a great team to do this. Why are we a good team? We've lived this domain on both sides. We've seen this run in 50 schools-ish. We've designed and taught classes. We've run these programs at different schools. We're still running these programs. And we really are excited to expand this journey in a good, there's a good market here that's highly fragmented. I hope you're going to be able to help us along this journey, enable us to provide more and better enrichment experiences for kids. I look forward to talking with you. You can schedule time with us on the school, on the Localvest app with the Calendly link there, or you could contact me at jj@schooltwist.com, and that QR code brings you there as well, jj@schooltwist.com. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and that's it.
All right. Hey, JJ, Chris, thank you all so much. So I told you we'd round it out with the Navy and the Air Force. We even got, Harvard in there. So, if you catch, I don't know if you caught it at the end, if I read it correctly, the after school enrichment market is it 12 billion or 15 billion market?
Like 12-ish.
12. Okay. So you've already got significant transaction volume. So if you don't mind, could you share just a little bit about who's helping you build this thing? And then maybe sort of the pricing model, how you all are getting your piece of that when you're creating so much value for these parents and students.
Yeah, excellent question. So you asked about the software side and how we're capturing value. So on the software side, we're what I call at the prototype or with MVP and pilot programs. And this has been our tool to let us kind of flesh everything out, like what's important, what's not important. And enough people going through it to kind of get all the rough edges out. Like, some of the things you think it's not a big deal, but when you have, thousands, going through and hitting it, then you go, oh yeah, actually that little feature or that wording thing, huge deal. We really have to do that. So that's kind of where we are. That's been programmed internally so far, and we're starting to expand that programming team. And then on capturing, so when the parent makes a payment for a class, it's typically like $100, $150 for a cursive class or something like that. They put in their credit card information. We take a fee off the top right now, and in the future that'll be more of a subscription, but that doesn't always make sense for all of our clients, and we really like the way it is now, so that the PTA doesn't have to come up with a credit card and pay us monthly. It makes it for a really easy kind of decision-making process. They just say, yeah, we'll do it. And we act in good faith and we get going.
That's great. All right. Well, I can see this. So you got Rob in the comments saying, father of 3, juggling sports, school, etc., a huge game changer. I've got 3 kids. We're doing those after school classes right now. So this is a real challenge, and we are living it. Over to you, Bill. Chris, JJ, thank you.
Thanks, Blake.
Yeah, thanks, gents. So what's your unique insight or special skill or experience that is really infused in your team that make you the right group to do this and execute on this problem?
Yeah. Chris, do you want to?
Yeah, as a JJ self-appointed hype man, I'd love to take this. So following on what JJ was saying about deep domain expertise, there really isn't another team in the world with the level of expertise. We've developed classes, we've taught classes, we've grown businesses that implement classes up and down the East Coast. Fiona and Denise, who aren't on with us now, but co-founders of ours, have experience in Asian and European markets. So there's that global perspective. So really, there isn't much about after school enrichment that this team doesn't know. And then I would say a unique perspective on this is that these are parent volunteers that don't have a ton of time to learn new software, to onboard. This isn't a full-time job for 99% of the people doing it. And that seems to be completely overlooked in every other software offering out there in this space. So we've taken that perspective from, building volunteer-led communities and put that right into the software. So it's easy to use, and there's onboarding and offboarding kind of built right in. So those are two, I think, of the biggest.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Yeah. To play off your answer a little bit, what is the competitive landscape like? And, I guess more specifically, what is the status quo that you've got to overcome? What are they using right now?
Yeah, I'll take that. That's a good question. So the reality is, there's been people in this space since about as long as there's been people selling software to schools. And when I did my previous company, I tried to use it, and it was like just not relevant to reality. Didn't keep them from trying to sell it. What we find is that we don't run into a lot of competition. So there's software out there, but we don't like compete against other people. What we find occasionally is a school will come to us and they'll just say, we're using this other program and we don't like them. Can we talk to you? That happens sometimes. The more likely scenario is they are not really using anything sophisticated. So they'll use Eventbrite and PayPal. We still see paper checks. I saw Google Forms last night with our new pilot program. So like, it's really,
that sounds like a serious competitor right there.
Well,
I'm joking. I was a joke.
It was, so, like that would be like, if you threw $1 billion at this, of course someone could take it over, but they're just doing Google Forms, and it ends up being in a spreadsheet, and that's like the pain. It's not collecting the information, it's how to handle all the information. There's a lot of stuff that has to move around. But on a roadmap, what I'm really excited about is we have a roadmap to not only for that, but expand our market, and we have a lot of blue ocean like things we could go after that I'm excited about in the long run. But that's more of a private conversation in the future.
Yeah. Well, I would certainly encourage folks that if they want to hear about the future and the innovation that you're making, is to connect with you. We'll put the information again in the chat on the screen, and of course on your deal tile and on Localvest and in the Bunker Labs investor group. But to continue with kind of the questions here that have been coming in, what do you see as, you talked about money for hardening the technology, but what do you see as the key risk factors to navigate from this point forward?
Yeah, the key risk factor. So we aren't Series A yet. We don't have everything figured out, but I'm really pleased with how far we've come and what we have figured out. Like, we've figured out that our deep expertise like really makes a difference. We've also figured out like our land and expand strategy makes a difference. We've figured out that being locally focused makes a difference. So like in my hometown of Belmont, we put once we got our first one in, by word of mouth, we got into the other school nearby, and since then we've gotten into a third school nearby, and actually a fourth school nearby. So that is like really exciting. We've seen that in Brookline also, which is a fantastic area up in Boston, and we've seen it in Loudoun County as well. Like, these parents literally talk to each other, so that's exciting. The next risk is just our standard next phase. We want to test some things with our go-to-market strategy, and maybe they're tougher on bringing on some new clients and scaling and stuff like that. But this team has kind of proven that we'll follow the data. So anything that's tough, that's okay. We analyze and learn and just kind of work around it. The bigger picture looks good. So there's risk, but it's solvable risk.
It's a big market, right? It's
a
big market.
It's neat.
Yeah,
it's exciting. It's like every time I look at this market, it's like, yep, still really highly fragmented. That makes me happy. That's opportunity.
And perfect for a SaaS solution, right? Highly fragmented market. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're running a little bit out of time. But I wanted to ask a final question before we wrap up the show today. What's the founding hypothesis that you've already approved or disproved, right? This thing started with an idea in the back of a napkin, a conversation over a beer, right? And like, hey, what have you proved or disproved, or what are you trying to prove or disprove, like with this next funding round?
Yeah. Well, I think I would focus on what we've proven so far. So before I saw in my previous company that good lesson plans are important, but that isn't the bottleneck to getting more kids having awesome experiences. And it's really more around, do you have volunteers in the area that could lift up the mantle? So it's a local volunteer, it's kind of like starting a little business, because they need to think about how to handle that money and bring on volunteers, like Chris was talking about, how to do succession planning to turn it over. What we have proven so far is if you have a good system, then the schools will grow. They will grow their offering. They'll get more robust. They'll get more systematized, and they become stronger. The kids have better experiences, and we've also proven that word of mouth. One of our exciting markets is new schools. So when they don't have a program yet, we could jump in, and new schools get right off the ground. They don't have to wait 20 years for the parents to get upset and finally rise up and do something. Like they're getting going right away. So that's what we're really excited about.
That's awesome. All right, gentlemen. Well, listen, School Twist, a company that helps educate kids, builds communities. Who wouldn't get behind a company like that? So if you've got questions, you want to connect with Chris and JJ, please do. There's some contact information here on the screen in the chat. And of course, on their deal tile and Localvest, there's a poll on the screen. So if you'd like to make that connection, we'll help you facilitate that connection with these gentlemen and learn more about what lies ahead for School Twist. What a great idea. I love it. And so I just want to wrap up, and be respectful of everybody's time. Let's see if we can come in at an hour. And I want to thank all our presenters today: Edwin, Lindsay, Chris, JJ. Of course, a special shout out to Bunker Labs and my co-host and friend, Mr. Blake Hogan. And so without whom this would not be possible. So thank you, Blake. And so we want to direct people to the website and to the deal tiles to check these things out. Anyone who hasn't come to the website in a while, please do so. We're always making changes, hopefully for the better. If you don't like the changes, tell us. We'll change them to something else. But please schedule a time. There's a lot behind the scenes. So if you're an issuer, a company that's looking to raise capital, schedule a time with us. We'd love to chat with you and show you exactly what this platform can do for your business. And I think that's it, other than, hey, thank you. Appreciate you giving us an hour of your life to share, 3 amazing entrepreneurs with you, and how we're helping to further the military veteran entrepreneurial ecosystem. And again, many thanks to Bunker Labs. Hopefully the first of many. All right. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Be well.